There may very well be no athlete more important in American sports than Jackie Robinson. His breaking of the baseball color barrier in 1947 was one of the most influential events in the nation's history. The Hall of Famer was born 100 years ago today. And while baseball is the sport he's known for, basketball might have been his best sport. On February 10th, Beyond the Paint will examine Robinson's basketball talent as well as his social impact. Here's a preview.
To answer the question of how good Jackie was at basketball, it's my strong opinion that that was his best sport.
Mac Robinson used to say my brother was lightning quick, and maybe he would have developed a crossover and broke somebody's ankle.
He was a leaper, he was a rebounder, he was a ball handler, he was a scorer inside, he could shoot from outside. You know, just an all-around game.
And if you read in the yearbooks, as a basketball player, they describe him as being very quick, fast, a good defensive player, and a scorer.
He led it in 4 sports at UCLA. He is still the leader in yards per carry from scrimmage in football. And he led it in football, track and field, baseball, and basketball. Yeah, he was Bo Jackson before Bo Jackson.
My dad was not one to boast. My dad wasn't like that, but I did have a trophy room in our house. So I sort of understood his multiple sports by the types of trophies we had. So we had a basketball one, we had his football cleat, which was bronzed. So that's kind of how I learned about his other sports.
This is from the Cleveland Call and Post, which is an African-American newspaper from 1946. Robinson, who was outstanding in 4 sports at UCLA, has this year made the transition from baseball to basketball without the slightest hitch. And with more than a dozen pro games under his belt, is destined to be one of the game's outstanding forwards.
Cannot wait to see that on NBA TV on
Definitely
Sunday,
watch that one.
February 10th.
Never knew he played basketball. Yeah, I never knew any of that.
Because living in Los Angeles and former UCLA head coach Steve Alford. So when I went to visit him and hang out with those guys, I saw all of those things maybe about 7 years ago when we went and read about all of the things that Jackie had done there. I knew about football and basketball just because I'm a basketball lover, but I didn't know about the track as well, that aspect, just the overall understanding of how great he was and how influential he was in terms of breaking the color barrier. And when you say break the color barrier, Ernie, it's breaking the mental barrier of what people can do based on what they are.
What's cool is that, my dad played Major League Baseball and played against Jackie Robinson. Yeah, and it was so cool to talk to my dad about, so what was it like when you were on the field, playing against Jackie? And he just talked about what a threat he was as a hitter, as a base runner. How you could hear him coming and how he played all out. And he also was funny. He said, my dad was at the plate one day. My dad's a pitcher, and so my dad's at the plate. And Jackie Robinson's at first base, playing first base. And he had kind of the high-pitched voice, and he looks at my dad and says, oh, pretty good hitter. And my dad started laughing, and Jackie started laughing because he was just busting him at the plate. So very special. 100 years ago, Jackie Robinson born.
That's amazing. We can never, speaking as a black man, I can never be thankful enough for Muhammad Ali, Mr. Robinson, John Carlos, Tommy Smith, all those guys, Bill Russell, Jim Brown, because to play sports in that day, the mental stress, first of all, sports are hard enough just to play, but the mental stress and the sacrifices those guys made it possible for guys like us to do our job. And so every time you see one of those guys, I tell them, man, I can't thank you enough.